evening. Welcome to Flow Brewing. Tonight we are going to do a tasting and score this beer. Something that I like to do before reviewing the results from my homebrew competitions, just to kind of see, get a gauge for where other BJCP judges are ranking my beers. And anyways, I think that it helps you become a better taster to sort of write down your thoughts and evaluate theirs. So anyways, I thought we'd go through that process tonight, check it out, and then review the results that I got from this Tri-County Fermenters Homebrew Festival. And this is my Bohemian Pilsner that we brewed. And so here we are. I've got it right here. We're just going to go ahead and open this guy up. Okay. Oh. All right. So, still got good carbonation. Here, how we're going to pour this. This will be a little bit difficult to do on camera, but I'm going to pour down the side to evaluate head retention, and then as I pour, then I will start dumping it in the middle to release the carbonation and evaluate it. So, when tasting beer, the first thing that you want to do is capture those aromas straight off the pour. And I would recommend having the BJCP style guidelines either printed out or readily available to you, that you can see here. And so this category is going to be Pilsner 2B, Bohemian Pilsner. And if you don't get it on your nose, then you're not really getting in there and sniffing it. So, noted. We can see here it's supposed to have a rich, complex, malty, and spicy floral sauce hop bouquet. And I get that, but I get some notes of a little bit of diacetyl. And it does say restrained diacetyl is acceptable, but need not be present, otherwise clean with no fruity esters. And I think that pretty much nails it right on the head. For that, we are required to, so here we'll just note our thoughts. And we've got spicy, sauce, hop aroma, slight diacetyl, noted. Otherwise, spicy. And there might just be a hint of toffee. And maybe that's what they mean by with complex malt. But really all I get in there is a spicy, kind of a spicy aroma. So I would give this out of 12. Definitely I would award it probably an 8. So let's see here. I'm just having a few issues. So we'll just say I would give it 8 out of 12. Then appearance. So let's move on to that. You can see here the beer is, it looks better on the computer than it does in person. If we rotate around, we hold it up to the light, It still looks a little bit better on the computer, but it's a pretty amber yellow. It's got decent clarity. It could be a little bit better had I filtered it. A little bit pale straw yellow color. So that's spot on. It says very pale gold to deep burnished gold, brilliant to very clear, with dense, long-lasting, creamy white head. So again, we're going to knock it a couple points for not having a big, creamy, long-lasting head. It does have some head, but you can see there it's not big and creamy. And it's not super bright and brilliant. So we'll put here, nice straw, light yellow color, slightly hazy, cloudy, otherwise good clarity and color. Low end of scale on head retention. Persist to low white rim. Okay, so there I'm going to award this 2 out of 3 for appearance. So now we get into the flavor. Here, I need a bigger desk. For the flavor, we've got rich, complex maltiness combined with a pronounced yet soft and rounded bitterness and spicy flavor from the Saaz hops. Some diacetyl acceptable. Bitterness is not prominent. Bitterness is prominent but never harsh, does not linger. Aftertaste is balanced between malt and hops, clean with no fruity esters. So let's get into this. For me, the drink always starts with the aroma, which I'm starting to get more diacetyl now. So I take a third drink, and keep in mind, actually, if I was tasting at a competition, I would not have the luxury of a full pour like this, so you have to be very precise with your taste. But this is a luxury that I have, so I'm going to take it. So for the flavor, beer starts with a slickness, diacetyl noted and present, a bit on the high end for the style. Otherwise, I think it achieves that malt balance. Nice malt backbone with balanced, spicy spice from the hops. Slightly bitter. May linger just a little too much. So we'll just put bitterness, may linger a bit much for style. Okay, so then we've got to assign a score for this. So I'm not actually a BJCP certified judge. So as I do this, I kind of learn more and more. Where I'm going to go with this, or at least my logic at this point in time, is if 20 is the best beer that was ever made, or a world-class beer that's essentially flawless, then I would think that 10 would be a beer with some flaws, but not, it's not piss. It's not a horrid beer. I think 15 would be a very good score. So for this beer, given that it's right in there, in style, with maybe just a bit too much bitterness and a touch too much of diacetyl, that is probably contributing to that slickness that I'm getting, and it's not finishing as dry and crisp as I think it should. We're going to go ahead and give this beer a score of 11. So next, on the mouthfeel, we're going to check out for the style. It's supposed to be medium bodied, although diacetyl, if present, may make it seem medium full, medium carbonation. So I think that this beer is basically spot on for the carbonation. It does have the medium body, so I'm just going to put medium body, some slickness, well carbonated, finishes fairly crisp. And really, there's not too many other palate sensations. It's not really warming. It does have sort of a sharp touch astringent. So we'll say it may be a touch astringent. Wasn't really expecting that. So again, maybe a little out of style there. So here we've got to award it a score. So if I was to score this beer, I think that it's pretty much spot on. I lean back and forth between 2 out of 5 and 3 out of 5. I think it's more in style than out, so I'm going to kind of lean towards a 3, but I think a 2 could be appropriate as well. And then here we get to the overall impression. So here I'm going to type overall. This is a very good example of the style. Small touches such as clarity, crisper finish, and slightly lower levels of diacetyl will help beer score better in future. No significant flaws experienced. Well brewed. I guess I'm just pumping myself up a little bit. But for stylistic accuracy, I would say it's brewed to style. Flawless versus significant flaws right in the middle. Intangibles, wonderful, lifeless. I would actually go a little on the lifeless scale, but I think that's a bit subjective. I would have checked a little bit. I would have checked the boxes for astringency and diacetyl over here, and then I would have said that I was a non BJCP taster, if you will. And this, of course, would be category 2 for Pilsner. B is the Bohemian Pilsner, which is this particular style. So overall, and then the statistics, of course. The commercial examples are Pilsner Urquell, Budweiser Budvar, Czech Var in the U.S., Starompramen, which is actually one of my favorites of the style that I used to drink when I lived in London, and kind of some of the inspiration behind this beer, and then Dock Street Bohemian Pilsner out of Philadelphia. So when you're doing this, it's also a very good idea to get one of these beers and do a commercial calibration to see how your beer stacks up with other beers. So anyways, those are a couple tips, but category 2B, and we just finished our tasting. We basically ended up on the score, let's see here. So we gave it, I forgot to give it the overall impression. I would have gone with probably about a 6. I think 5 is a little harsh. So 6 and 3 would be 9. 9 and 11 bring it to 20, and then 22, and then so we really land right there at about 30. That's not near where I want this beer to be, but that's sort of my overall impressions tasting it. And I'm going to go ahead and note that we awarded a 6 there. And so now let's get into the feedback from the BJCP certified judges. I will say that this beer did win second at this Brewmasters competition. I think it was a decent beer, a good beer. I do think that it had some of the things that we talked about, opportunities. And further, I think that this was a smaller competition, so I think that having a little bit lower score allowed me to score a little bit higher. So the final assigned score for this beer was 32.5, so I'm within 2.5 of what the BJCP judges awarded it. Getting into here, the first one was Mike Miller, who is a BJCP certified judge, and let's go through it. So for malt forward, or for aroma, he says malt forward, and some spiciness from the hops, some alcohol present, no esters, 7 out of 10. So he was 1 point lower than what I awarded it. Appearance, he gave it 1 out of 3. Clarity, low to medium. Bottom end, says low to medium, receded fast on the head. Bottom and I don't know what that other is that he wrote. Bottom, I don't know. This one, where was it tasted in the flight? That's something they will tell you. Entry number. So this was 2 of 10 in the flight, so it shouldn't have been low on carbonation. For flavor, I actually got really good scores there. Malt first in flavor, then hops of lingering bitterness. Good balance between malt and hops. He gave me 16 out of 20. So that's wonderful and well appreciated. Mouthfeel, medium body, and carbonation. Sums, I think he's saying, and he says no astringency. So I think that the astringency note that I put in my notes was just me, and I think different people pick up on different things as I recorded in the Siebel sensory tasting project. So, anyways, there on mouthfeel, I got 4 out of 5, and then overall impression, very tasty pills, cloudy for this style, and bottom end of color scale. Oh, that's what he was saying. Color, bottom end of color. So, anyways, um, basically, need to lighten it up, clear it up. May need to add findings to help with clarity. So just giving me a little bit of positive feedback or something that he thinks that I could do to help improve this beer, and a final score of 35. He gave me just one towards the classic example, one towards flawless, and one towards wonderful. Um, it's considered a very good beer, generally within the style parameters with some minor flaws. Didn't quite make the grade for excellent. Um, he checked alcoholic, the aroma, flavor, and warming effect of ethanol. And I might get that a little bit, even though that was poured a long time ago. So thank you, Mike. Appreciate the feedback. The next one was Jeremy Drury, who is a non-BJCP judge, so sensory training. And looks like he works at the brew shop. Nothing checked on the left. On aroma, 6 out of 12, so quite a bit lower there. Malt and a little fruity esters and alcohol, some spicy hop. There, I don't agree. I think there's nothing fruity about that whatsoever, and his score is probably a little bit low there. Appearance, a little cloudy, a little dark, but not too bad. Head did not last long. Again, everything that we noted. I think it's interesting, though, that I'm getting 1s there instead of 2s, but again, it's only a couple points. Good hop bitterness, good malt and hop balance, but got 14 out of 20 in the flavor. And I was quite a bit harder on this beer than they were, so I think that seems reasonable. Mouthfeel, medium full body, carbonation is good, but body seems a little big, he says. That could be because of the crystal malt in there, but anyways, we're not really talking about the formulation of this beer at this point. More so just the feedback and the tasting aspect. But those are things that you need to connect as you're doing this. And we can kind of do that here in just a sec. What we'll do is I'll pull up the... there we go. I'll pull up the brew log for this beer, and we can kind of talk through that. So, anyways, and then I find it balanced very well. The appearance needs work, cleared up, lighten it up, and good beer. So basically, got knocked on the aroma. Got 30 out of 50. So that brought it down to 32.5 overall. So that kind of sums up the score sheet for this beer. And so now let's talk about the recipe formulation process and how do we get to this beer. So with a Bohemian Pilsner, what you're really looking to do is sort of capture that Czech Saaz hop and just let it shine through a nice, clear Pilsner malt that, if you're brewing this beer to style, you're probably looking for something that's real crisp, something very drinkable that's got that sort of spicy hop, sort of a little bit of bitterness matched with some good malt, good Pilsner malt contribution, and looking for a little bit of that spicy noble hop aroma, if you will. So in order to do that, I decided keep it within style, go with almost a 90% Pilsner base, and actually this one happened to be 80%. That's not true, actually. So we went with basically, let's do the math here. We went with 94, just under 93 and change percent Pilsner malt, and then I used a Carapils malt to give it some body and head retention. And I think that actually went down as part of bottling this, because drinking this out of the keg, it had a lot better head retention than this beer. And this isn't horrible, because this has been poured for well over 25 minutes we've been running. And, you know, it's not horrible. It's just not frothy and white like the style suggests. Then basically just straight Czech saws, hops, and then I use 2001, your Quell strain, or I'm sorry, the 2007 Pilsner lager yeast. And so anyways, did a starter, and then basically the brewing notes. I pretty much hit my numbers. And pitched at 55 degrees. So basically, I probably could have pitched more in the 52 range, let it ferment about a week to 2 weeks, and then start slowly ramping it up for that diacetyl rest. Maybe after a couple days of good, solid primary fermentation. Other thing that I didn't do with this beer is I didn't crash cool it, I don't think, long enough. And you know, the fermentation temperature and fermentation process is so crucial to a beer like this. So anyways, but that kind of talks you through the ideas behind this beer. A lot of those ideas are taken sort of from brewing classic styles as far as what this base recipe looks like. But the thought process of what I'm talking about is, you know, I think the way that you got to go about it, and you know, you need to find things to complement or accent the flavors that you're looking for. And that's something that we were actually talking at the Red Earth Brewers meeting just this week. I think it's one of the things that I'm actually not real good at, but that's part of making this video and actually discussing is talking about that process, how it relates to the final beer, entering the final beer in a competition, getting that feedback, and then closing the loop and looking at what was my hypothesis, what was the final product, and then what was the result, the tangible result being the score, and then you know, doing your own tasting, arriving at the 30, which is interesting that me and the non-BJCP both, I would assume, are similar, because we probably drinks a lot of beer like I do, probably really enjoys beer, but the BJCP judge actually thought quite a bit higher of this particular beer. So that's kind of cool. And it could be that we're biased a little bit to not want to rate a beer so high because we don't have the experience or the backing to really stand behind that. So anyways, those are kind of my thoughts. This is the Bohemian Pilsner, and appreciate you tuning into Flow Brewing for this tasting note, and come back for more of these. So cheers.